We do start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star Game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun.
Okay, let's get one thing straight. Jacy Sheldon's oopsie wasn't just controversial. It might have just straight up ended Caitlin Clark's shot at an All-Star season. And now the entire internet is screaming, why is no one protecting her?
And this picture that I just came across, I'm like, what are we doing? Kathy Engelbert, she came out, it ain't been that long ago, like 2 weeks ago. Refereeing's pretty good in this league. In what league? What league allows this?
Foul, accident, or something far more sinister, whatever you call it, that hit changed everything. Because what we saw next wasn't just another bump on the court, it was the WNBA's biggest star, the face of the league, literally breaking down in front of our eyes.
Hey man, I gotta keep it real, man. Shout out to the WNBA, man. Shout out to y'all for constantly fouling Caitlin Clark, constantly hurting her this season. Now we're halfway through the season, at the All-Star game, where she's supposed to be the team captain and playing, where she's supposed to be in the three-point contest, and it has been announced she is not going to because she needs to rest her body. Thank y'all. Y'all are doing a great job at growing this league.
It all unfolded live under the glaring lights during the Indiana Fever's clash with the Connecticut Sun. With barely 2 minutes left, Clark dropped a signature, no-look dime, turned to hustle back on D, and then it hit. Jacy Sheldon steps into her path, and that knee comes up, just a little too high, a little too awkwardly. Look, it wasn't a WWE move, maybe not even on purpose, but the second it connected, Clark flinched. She clutched her groin, grimaced, and every camera zoomed in. The refs, crickets, no whistle, no review, just silence. But the fans, oh, they erupted. Slow-mo replays exploded across social media. Some screamed, foul. Others mumbled, clumsy step. But everyone, and I mean everyone, saw one undeniable truth. Caitlin Clark was not okay.
Because I just finished watching the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun game, and I swear every time these two teams go up against one another, something happens, and it's honestly never good. It's never good, and of course the biggest story of the night is the story that Caitlin Clark seems to have re-injured her groin.
True to form, Clark tried to brush it off, stayed in the game, even sank a clutch deep three, but just moments later, the facade crumbled. She slowed, clutched her groin again, and hobbled towards the baseline. You saw her bury her face into the basket support, and that's when it happened. She broke. This wasn't a tantrum over a bricked shot. This wasn't just game frustration. This was something raw, something devastatingly deeper.
But this was honestly, I'm not going to share this whole clip because I don't know how much she wants the video of her basically crying on the court to be circulated around, but she walks down to the end of the court. You can tell that she's in pain. You can tell that there's something wrong. She goes to the what's it called, like stanchion or whatever, the thing that holds up the basketball hoop on the other end. She hits her head on it. She is fighting back tears and she walks straight over to the bench. Now, when she goes over to the bench, she starts crying, and I've honestly never seen Caitlin Clark cry on the court except when she lost the national championship game. She keeps it together no matter what is happening.
The fiercest competitor in the WNBA, the woman whose face is plastered on every billboard, was openly weeping. And here's the kicker. This isn't her first rodeo with pain this season. Fans have been screaming warnings from the sidelines for weeks, desperate for someone to listen.
This is how you treat your prized possession? This is how you treat your cash cow? This is how you treat your savior? This is how you treat the young woman responsible for elevating this unbelievably rancid turd?
It kicked off in preseason with a quad injury, then a groin issue mid-season, another flare-up, and now, whatever this is. But this isn't just about the laundry list of injuries. It's about the infuriating way they've been managed, or more accurately, mismanaged.
So, the big way they were able to neutralize Caitlin Clark, and I think it was almost an issue with Stephanie White as much as anything, is they were manhandling her. They were manhandling Caitlin Clark early in that game. Like, they had two hands on her. They were fully getting into the we are grabbing her and we don't really care. Like, that was their goal. Their goal was they were out there to maul Caitlin Clark. They had no, they had absolutely no intention of doing anything other than mauling Caitlin Clark. Like, they were not out there to play legit defense. They were there to maul Caitlin Clark as much as they possibly could.
She's been flown coast to coast for endless PR appearances, shoved into pointless exhibition games, and then thrown into high-stakes matchups when she was clearly running on fumes. Forget just the injuries. She's been elbowed, shoulder-checked, and straight-up slammed to the ground more times than any other rookie in the league. Think about that.
Well, Casey, why are you acting so surprised? We've always known that the WNBA doesn't know how to treat their stars properly. I'm not talking about the WNBA and the egregious way they treat the Great White Hope. Not only does this dump not know how to create stars, the disrespect, the outright defiance, it is coming from the president of the Indiana Felines, which means this is coming from Caitlin Clark's own team.
And through it all, she plays on. She still packs arenas, still shatters viewership records, still takes every single hit without a peep. But this time, she couldn't hide the pain. And believe me, fans are officially done being quiet. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. You don't treat $1 billion asset like a crash test dummy. Preach.
This Stephanie White versus Caitlin Clark thing can turn very nasty, and let's really see which way do you think the organization is gonna go. You gotta remember, Kelly Crosskoff and Amber Cox, they out here trying to sell the Indiana Fever as Apple. Apple, man, y'all ain't no goddamn app. Y'all not even Boost Mobile. You do realize this franchise didn't make the playoffs for over 10 years until Caitlin Clark got there. You do realize Kelsey Mitchell was winning like 6 games a year as a pro. She was winning like 6 games a year. This ain't no Apple. This ain't no Apple. Caitlin Clark is the Apple. I don't know what you talking about. You over here trying to make it seem like the Fever is what's in. No, Caitlin Clark makes the Fever what's in. If wherever she go or went, that is what was gonna be what was popping. It's not y'all.
Another one chimed in. If this were LeBron or Luka, they'd be living in a protective bubble. Even Clark's own brother, bless his heart, finally spoke out, absolutely ripping the refs for conveniently swallowing the whistle yet again when his sister got hit. And you know what? He's not wrong, because this isn't just some random coaching mistake or a fluke injury. This is a spectacular league-wide failure.
Clark gets pushed around, thrown to the floor during games, and teammates are standing there just looking, not doing anything. Sophie Cunningham will do something. While other players get a microphone put in front of them, doing their media interviews, while they regurgitate the same nonsense, the same word salad that Stephanie White lies says, Sophie Cunningham will say,
the WNBA has essentially given other teams a green light to play Clark with reckless abandon, knowing there are 0 consequences. The refs conveniently look away, the front office remains shockingly silent, and don't even get me started on the Fever's baffling rotation decisions. This isn't how you handle a superstar with a history of soft tissue injuries. They're subbing her in and out like she's a fringe role player with a slightly sore ankle, not the undeniable face of the league. One minute she's on fire, the next she's benched. No rhythm, no recovery, just pure unadulterated chaos.
You think all this merch and all these nationally televised games is happening because you're the Indiana Fever? You're Apple? Stop it, man. That's that delusional stuff. Get out of Delulu land, Amber Cox and Kelly Crosskoff. Salute to all the fans who was bombing on Kelly Crosskoff on Twitter, and that's why she had to delete it.
So now her groin is flaring up again. Honestly, are any of us surprised? This All-Star weekend in Indianapolis was supposed to be Clark's triumphant victory lap, the 3-point contest, her first All-Star game, a full circle moment, finally getting the flowers she deserved after single-handedly carrying the league to its most watched season ever. Instead, she might be chilling on the bench, or worse, in a hospital bed. Insiders are already whispering she's unlikely to even suit up, and after seeing her limp off that court, hunched over, face buried, eyes raw and red, it's pretty damn hard to argue otherwise.
I really feel for Caitlin Clark because I actually had that injury 2006. And listen, I was heavily taped around my thigh, around my glute, just trying to make sure there was enough pressure to hold that groin. And the hard part is that the groin is sort of an area that you can't just touch and go, oh, it hurts right here. You feel it deep. You have to get a lot of deep treatment, whether it's ice and heat and rest. Well, can Caitlin Clark, she can't find a lot of rest right now because she's mid-season. But I think that injury is really tough because it lingers. No matter how much medicine you take, you can feel fine. You get back out there, one move, one change of direction, and boom, you're right back feeling that same type of pain. So it's going to be a tough injury that she's going to have to manage.
Let's be clear, this wasn't some tiny tweak. This was an elite athlete, a generational talent breaking down right in front of the world. And if that doesn't send a shiver down your spine, you haven't been paying attention. Groin injuries are notoriously brutal. They linger, they worsen, they lead to long-term problems if not handled perfectly. And Clark, she's already pushed through pain and come back too early. This time, there might not be an easy bounce back, which brings us back to that initial play. Was Jacy Sheldon's contact intentional? Maybe, maybe not, but does it even matter anymore? Because dirty or not, that moment, that hit was just the final agonizing straw in a season-long pattern of systemic neglect. The real problem isn't Sheldon, it's the rotten system itself.
Speaking of the referees getting into it with the players, Caitlin Clark had an interaction with the referee, and we still don't know what this referee actually said, but I also want to show you guys this clip. So as you can see, Caitlin's going back and forth with this referee number 39, and then he says something where she actually has to be held back. She gets so upset that she has to be held back by one of her coaches.
A system that allowed Clark to get body checked with zero consequences. A system that shamelessly overplayed her for headlines and profit. A system that blatantly ignored every red flag just to keep those jersey sales climbing. And now, that exact same system is watching its most valuable player hobble into the All-Star break. Broken, physically, emotionally, and maybe even mentally. Here's the brutal truth. If the Indiana Fever dare to put her back on that court before she's 100% healed, it's not just a bad decision, it's a betrayal. Clark doesn't need more minutes. She needs protection. She needs leadership. She needs someone, anyone in that front office to finally slam their fist down and say, enough is enough. Because if this toxic pattern continues, she won't just miss the All-Star game, she'll miss her entire career. And if that nightmare scenario plays out, don't you dare blame Jacy Sheldon. Blame every single person who saw this coming and did absolutely nothing. Drop a comment below if you think it's time for the WNBA to finally prioritize their star player. And hit subscribe, because trust me, this story is only getting started.
You know, things come. I feel like the attention and, you know, whatever that is, I don't want to say I get used to it, but to an extent, like you do. And you just accept that's how it's going to be. People are going to criticize you. People are going to praise you, no matter what it is. When you're playing on this level and you have this type of spotlight, whether it's me, whether it's any professional athlete that's at the top of their game, that's just how it's going to be. So
she stepped into TD Garden like it was personal, because for Caitlin Clark, it absolutely was. The last time she faced the Connecticut Sun, they didn't just play hard, they played dirty. A cheap shot from Jacy Sheldon, a blatant body check from Marina Mabry. It was an absolute war zone out there.
That's what Clark didn't like. That Mabry came in with a bump.
But let me say this, time out.
But this time, Caitlin Clark didn't just respond, she rewrote WNBA history. 3 records shattered, 1 brutal message delivered.
I think you just continue to build on what you want to get better at. And I think that's probably the greatest challenge at times is, you know, everybody else has expectations of you, but at the end of the day, like, there's no higher expectation than what I have of myself.
And in the final 5 minutes, she single-handedly outscored their entire team. This wasn't just a basketball game, folks. This was war. So let's rewind June 17th.
Tonight, the Fever welcome in the Connecticut Sun with Commissioner's Cup title hopes on the line.
Feeling good. Big one for us after a good win. Got to come out, play with a lot of energy again. Should be a great crowd, so gonna be fun.
Caitlin Clark versus the Connecticut Sun should have been a standard game. Instead, it turned into an absolute brawl. Jacy Sheldon swiped Clark in the eye. Marina Mabry followed up with a vicious body check. And the refs, they just stood there and let it happen.
What really got this escalated So that was called a flagrant. Those two were technicals. Charles got a technical, and then Mabry for what we thought should have been.
Technical fouls were thrown around, but no ejections. Clark didn't retaliate, she just took the hits. But she never, ever forgot. So when the Indiana Fever rolled into TD Garden for the rematch, Clark wasn't just there to play, she came for revenge. And this time, she had an army. TD Garden might be the Celtics' house, but on this night, it belonged to the Fever faithful. Over 19,000 fans packed the building, and trust me, the Connecticut Sun felt every single one of them. This wasn't just a game, it was a hostile takeover, and the Fever were locked and loaded, with Sophie Cunningham stepping into her brand new enforcer role.
Ari McDonald, what a pickup she has been, came in as a injury replacement player. There's Sophie Cunningham.
Kelsey Mitchell came out absolutely scorching, dropping 20 points.
On the rookie out of France. And it didn't take long for Indiana to strike back.
It had not even a shot at getting back and getting in front of her in transition. And how about taking the contact?
Natasha Howard absolutely owned the paint with 18 points and 13 boards.
High hedge on the ball screen on Clark.
Inside perfectly.
One thing you know about Tina Charles, she has every shot in her arsenal.
Now Sheldon, the height disadvantage against Howard.
Yeah, good recognition.
Even Aaliyah Boston, despite a rough shooting night, made her presence known with crucial rebounds and laser crisp passes.
Another pass inside. Good job by Mitchell to gather.
Back to that facilitation of Leah Boston right here. She is reading the cutters, fakes the handoff, and good read by Kelsey Mitchell.
But let's be real. All of it started and ended with Clark. She orchestrated the floor like a basketball general. Behind the back passes, no-look dishes, pure, unadulterated control.
Clark off glass.
Good heavy by Clark. She froze the defense. 0.5 basketball, keeping the ball moving in 0.5 seconds.
And while everyone was glued to the high-octane game, Clark was quietly, relentlessly chasing history. Her shooting numbers, not pretty. 4 of 14 from the field, just 1 of 7 from deep. But her impact, absolutely unparalleled.
Play against her and learn from her.
Passing the torch to some of the great young talent. That is the first points for Caitlin Clark in the second half.
Right here, Clark comes off of the screen and just eyes the bucket, but I like the pull-up.
She didn't just break records, she shattered 3 WNBA records in a single night. First, she became the fastest player in league history to hit 450 assists, doing it in just 53 games, absolutely demolishing the previous record of 62. Second, she became the fastest ever to drain 150 three-pointers. Ever. And third, she extended her insane streak to 40 consecutive games with 5 or more assists, the longest such streak the league has ever witnessed. Folks, that's not luck, that's pure, unadulterated greatness.
Caitlin Clark scored 32 points and assisted on 22 more Saturday, marking her 9th career game with 50 points scored or assisted on, already the second most in WNBA history.
Stop playing with this girl. She only played 45 games and she's 1 away from tying the WNBA record. This is her 2nd season. Now, I don't like the fact that she be getting woke because she don't want all these. You get a girl who kind of cute. She's still feminine. She's not black. She got a great attitude. You don't got to be ghetto and flashy and doing all that. She's everything that they said that you could not be in order to be successful. Her return game peaked at 2.8 million viewers on ABC, one of the highest ever. The Fever's franchise value jumped from 900 million to 340 million. Oh my God. If somebody say they need to get paid like the men, Caitlin Clark need to get paid like the men.
But what happened in the final 5 minutes? That was a whole different beast. With the Fever clinging to a slim lead, Clark flipped a switch and absolutely exploded. Drive, dish, score. By the final buzzer, she had single-handedly outscored the entire Connecticut Sun team in those last 5 minutes. They tried to stop her. They couldn't. No trash talk, no cheap shots, just pure, unadulterated dominance. Caitlin Clark didn't need to say a word. The scoreboard screamed her message. But just when it felt like the perfect revenge story, everything changed. Less than a minute left. Clark makes a razor-sharp pass to Mitchell, and then she grabs her right leg, the same leg that's been plaguing plaguing her all season.
Because I just finished watching the Indiana Fever versus Connecticut Sun game, and I swear every time these two teams go up against one another, something happens, and it's honestly never good. It's never good, and of course the biggest story of the night is the story that Caitlin Clark seems to have re-injured her groin. So I'm just going to show you guys the clip. So as you guys can see here, she is dribbling down, she plants her foot, she passes the ball to Kelsey Mitchell on the back door, and then when she is running back on the other end of the court, it seems like she's grabbing her groin area. Now it also seems like she's grabbing her right groin area, and her last groin injury was supposedly on the left side.
That familiar, dreaded groin injury. She limped off the court slowly. No celebration, no trace of a smile. She buried her face in a towel, and the cameras caught it all. The tears. Caitlin Clark was in agony, not just physically, but emotionally, because in just a few days, it's All-Star Weekend. In Indianapolis, she's the team captain. She's slated for the three-point contest. She's supposed to be the undisputed star of the entire event, or at least she was supposed to be. Now everything hangs in the balance. Coach Stephanie White's cryptic update: she felt something in her groin. We'll get it evaluated. That's all we know. And honestly, that's not enough.
No update. Just felt a little something in her groin, so we'll get it evaluated and see what happens from there.
And not enough is an understatement. Without Clark, the Fever don't just lose a player, they lose their entire identity. And the league, it loses its biggest, most magnetic draw right when it needs her to shine the most. 3 records, 1 defiant win, and 1 heartbreaking injury. That, my friends, is the brutal, unpredictable roller coaster of pro sports. If you're rooting for Caitlin Clark, drop a comment wishing her a swift and full recovery. Like this video and hit that subscribe button for more deep dives like this. Because one thing is crystal clear, her story, it's far from over.